Welcome to another episode of that deep shit where we connect the dots. And on today's episode, we're going to talk about the ancestors. Now, there's a lot of videos floating around YouTube and on the net that cover the subject of the ancestors. But in this video, we're going to go like 3 levels deep into the ancestors. So let's go ahead and jump right in. All right. When you're thinking about the ancestors, you're thinking about spiritual connections to yourself that are not on the physical plane is the best way that I could describe it. So it's everything that exists before and after this particular plane of existence. So when you talk about the ancestors is the energies or the forces of the spirit and the soul that make up who you are. That's your connection. Because see, spirit, soul, you, the Most High, your higher self, all one thing. Okay? But just depending on perspective and density is what brings forth separation. In essence, and this is kind of like jumping ahead really quick into the video, when you start to separate the all, creation itself, your higher self, the Most High, your ancestors, and everything, when you start to separate that, this is what sin is based off of. Sin, or the concept of what sin is just separation. So you're born into sin. You're born into separation. You're separating yourself from the all. That's what that is. But that's bonus. Early in the video, slapped you in the head with a bonus. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Okay, so on one level, there's you. Let's keep it real simple. On one level, there's you. Now, how do you get here? What are you made up of? You are made up of everything. So anything that precedes you is your ancestor. And before you have anything that's on the physical plane or the physical realm, it's all made up of elements. Okay? Earth, wind, water, fire, ether. Ether, spirit, is soul. These other elements is what you would call the recipe for the physical existence. Earth, wind, water, and fire. You are made up of these elements in the physical form. The ether is what animates the physical form, and that's what completes you as a being, as a man, woman, human being. Okay? The ether is what animates the physical form. So the wind is your ancestor. Okay? Fire is your ancestor. All right? Like I told you, this is going to be 3 levels deep in the realm of the ancestors. Okay? Water, earth, all your ancestors. Okay? And each one of these separate elements have different groups inside of them. But we're going to keep it really simple. Okay, so you have to give respect to your ancestors. And some people forget the fact that elements are the ancestors. Now, let's talk about the earth element. For example, we're just going to go into example of one element. I may not go into them all, but we'll go into example of one element. Go inside of the earth element. Inside of that element alone, you have all animal creatures, birds, reptiles, mammals, all inside of the element of earth. These animals preceded you. In fact, your physical being, we'll call that part of the earth element. You know what I'm saying? So not all, but almost all people have every single animal biological structure inside of their makeup. Not only physically, but in their brain as well. How do we know this? Because there's parts of the brain that are correlated with animal traits. There's the reptilian part of your brain, there's the insect part of your brain, there's the bird part of your brain, and so on and so forth. These are all facets of the brain. This is scientific documented facts. If you don't believe me, I'm gonna sound like RFG. Do your research, people. Do your research. All right? Seriously. Go look that shit up. It's really facts. But the genetic code of animals aren't that different from our genetic codes. They're just slight variations of the same codes. This is not by accident. This is all by divine design. All right? Real shit. Okay. Moving along. So now what do we understand? We understand that animals are your ancestors, insects are your ancestors, the elements are your ancestors. All of these things are your ancestors. Now, I know most people don't equate none of these things to the ancestors when they're talking about the ancestors. That's because most people only know one facet of what they call the ancestors. All right? Now, before you can have anything physical, you have the non-physical realm. So let's just say, here's people on one level. Above people, then you have the elements. So anything physical, people, animals, all that shit down here. Now you have the elements. These are your ancestors as well. You must pay respect to your ancestors. Above the level of the elements, well, this is when you get into the spirit world. The spirit world. Remember, I told you that spirit and soul and you are all connected as one. Just these different separations is what we want to call, like I said before, what we want to call negative sin. Okay? So when you have the spirit realm, this is where you get to your higher self. You know what I'm saying? The true version of you, the spirit version of you. So the spirit version of you condensates like a cloud. How a cloud condensates and then gets so dense, squeezes out water, because it's air particles. It gets so dense and now it becomes physical water. Same kind of condensation level happens in the realm of the ancestors and creation. So when you're dealing with the spirit realm, this is where your higher self resides, okay? Now, I'm going to jump around a little bit. Please, please try to follow. This is some deep, deep, deep shit, all right? All right. Your higher self really is the thing that you're chasing, the thing that you're calling the first level of what you will want to call what God is. You're really trying to get to your higher self. And all the religions on the physical plane, they're trying to explain how to get to your higher self. Okay? But watch this. In that spirit realm of higher selves, because we all have higher selves, there's other beings and deities that have control over the physical realm. We call these deities and beings demiurges or the demiurge. Now, they have invested interests into keeping people down here on this physical realm because that's how they maintain power. They have to have something to rule over and control. So it's in their best interest to keep people on the physical realm or in this loop of higher self, elements, and physicality. Okay? So what happens is, or what has happened is this thing that we call the demiurge has taken over and manipulated our minds with religion. So we think that we are all trying to connect to our higher selves, but we're all being told that we need to be worshiping a certain deity, a certain God, a certain Lord. Lord just means someone that rules over. So think about that word next time that you read that. Who is saying this and who created that? All right? Okay. So this demiurge that dwells in this spiritual realm over here has everybody kind of like cycling and not going above, not even getting to their higher selves, but just cycling through the element level, through a little bit of the spirit level, and all the way back down and reincarnating into the physical world. But it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. Above that spirit realm or the spirit world is where you will find other parts of you. We call this your soul group. So you belong to a specific soul group. Okay? So it's imperative to find out who this soul group is. Now let's bring it back down to earth so we can identify who the soul groups are. Okay? So when we're down here on the physical plane, and for those who practice, it's more indigenous religious thought, the people who give praise to the Orishas and who know things about Yoruba and all and things like that. We call them in African tradition the ancestors. Okay, here's the thing about the ancestors, and guess what? My higher self told me about this, and I'll share it with y'all. All the deities that you worship, no matter who it is that you worship, or not worship, but work with, I would say. That's a better word. Work with, a better phrase, work with. They may not be your soul group. They may not be your ancestors. That's why if you're doing altar work and you have different statues on your altar, you may not be having the best of luck. Reason being is not all these deities get along. And not all these deities are part of your soul group. So you may be working with deities that are not in your soul group, you see? And you wonder why things aren't going as smoothly as they should be. You got to identify with your soul group. Don't just be giving it up to anybody just because it sounds good. It may work, it may not work, but it works better if you deal with your people in your specific soul group. And 9 times out of 10, you are always led or attracted to your soul group. So, as long as you're not doing extra shit, like doing too much, you should be okay. You know what I'm saying? Don't overdo it and go overboard when dealing with the ancestors. Okay? All right. So, so you have physical realm, elements, spirit world, which resides in the spirit world is your higher self, other people in your soul group, and so on and so forth. Above that level is where things get kind of complicated. It's not really easy to explain what happens after that. Okay? But there's levels to this shit. You don't just get on your knees and pray to God and that's it. Okay? Like I said, there's physical, elements, spirit, higher self, soul group, archangels are above that, and so on and so forth. And wait till my Gravity and the Gods video drop, so I'll show y'all and tell y'all who the archangels is. That's gonna be some super deep shit. All right. Okay. So when it comes to being on the physical realm and praying, you have to understand these levels. If not, you're just throwing out energy to who knows. Who knows who's sucking up that energy, soaking it up and using it. You don't even know because you just praying, oh, please help me. You don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So the best thing or the best advice I can give you is literally learn your ancestors. I'm tripping. I was just tripping off my headphone jack. I think I messed it up. But yeah, literally learn who your ancestors is in your soul group and mess with them. I'll give you a mundane example. Your grandmother might be praying for you and you don't even know it. You know what I'm saying? You might have one of them grandmothers who's super in the church and be praying for you. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of things that you may not even know was not supposed to go your way went your way because of that energy being put out there. That example just gets multiplied tenfold. So you got to have a connection, just like how your grandmother would pray for you and throw prayers out there for you, and you doing all right. You don't know it though, but your grandmother is really hooking you up. That happens on the next level and on the next level and on the next level. So you have to establish a relationship with the ancestors. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like your middleman to get to the, the archangels, or to get to to source creation itself. You gotta have spokesmen for you. You are just on a physical plane. No one gives a fuck about you on the physical plane. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta understand that you gotta connect to your people so they can relay the message. That's how prayer actually works, and that's how dealing with the ancestors actually works. So all these cats talking about, and the ancestors, man, libations for the ancestors. Do you understand how it works? Tired of this shit. You motherfuckers talk too fucking much and don't know what y'all talking about. I'm sorry. That's a little ego slipping. I digress. So I think I covered what I wanted to cover. I'm pretty sure I'm leaving out a whole bunch of shit. But if I do remember what I'm leaving out, I would definitely make a part 2 and, and take it from there. But with that being said, keep them third eyes open. Log on to newmysteryschool.com for tools to help your ascension. And if you need a one-on-one study session, please feel free to email me. If you need Anjana Chakra teas, I got those. Please support your boy. And for those who have supported so far, I really do appreciate that. Humbly, I thank you. And with that being said, I'm signing off. Peace.